This Champions League analysis and outright picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog has a brand new offer for new customers. Play just $5, get $50 in bonus funds when you sign up with a code PLGP. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Friday, August the 29th. We are here to do some hard-hitting statistical analysis on yesterday's Champions League draw. Mainly focused around the English teams, the 6 Premier League teams that have qualified. And we give out a couple of picks. There was a couple of picks that stood out for me when I looked at it. Joining me, I assume, having just finished an honest day's work, is Mr. Barry Penaluna. Bazza, how you doing?
I almost finished an honest day's work. I had to knock off early. I've been unwell today. I've been struggling with a headache. I've had a migraine all afternoon. Can't shake it off. But you know me, I just get on with it, don't I? Don't sit and moan about it. Yeah,
You barely messaged me about it 3 or 4 times this afternoon. You've never moaned about it, Barry, at all.
Exactly.
As I am the usual kind of day, I cranked out 2.5 hours this morning. I've had 9 holes of golf this afternoon. If you can, it's dead smoky in here, Baz. I've just knocked up some burgers for the kids. It's like backdrafting here now. I always go for the certain like smash burger, but I use the dry pan, which does lend itself to a house full of smoke. So if you can kind of see me through the haze, that's why I put my Gregory specs on again, just so I can see what I'm doing.
I crack a chicken in here for me tonight. I've got some bit of Chinese on the go.
What chicken?
Firecracker chicken. It's like a Chinese kind of dish, but I'm looking forward to that. Firecracker chicken, bit of basmati rice, bit of tender stem broccoli.
I'll be on the burgers again, but I haven't done mine yet. I thought I'd wait until I'd spoke to you. The IT department has gone to bongo bingo, Baz. So she might come back with a big wad of cash or a Henry Hoover or a giant dildo or any of those things. So it's just me and the children here this evening. There's quite a few reprobates who've got nothing better to do on a Friday than listen to us do this show. Lee Smith is at work, but not doing much. Joe Dollar, Joe, how you doing? Harry, Chelsea. John Cullerface joined us, and Ian Lights out. George came in the chat last night quickly, and we talked to him about it. And I said to him, man, it's Big Daft George from when we went to Sheffield. Well, apparently phoned Simmers this morning and says, yeah, do you not call me Big Daft George? And because George thought he was just Big George. He didn't realise the word daft was in there as well. He said, yeah, do you not call me Big Daft George? We're like, oh, man, it's affectionate, George. Don't worry about it. Turns out George didn't know he was daft, Barry. So that was news to him last night when he tuned into the show. So welcome, George, Big Daft George, if you're listening. That made me laugh. We're going to do some, just the 6 Prem teams here. We've got the main show went out last night. Loads of picks on that. A bit of championship action tonight. Birmingham against Leicester should be a half-decent game. I've just had to go on the Super Boost, which is over half a goal in the first half, just to try and steal some bullets ready to fire at the weekend. But we're going to have a look at the 6 Premier League teams and the Champions League draw. Mainly, we'll crack on with that. I'm going to tell you about, this is a great time to get involved with our brand new, unique, exclusive, etc. sponsor, which is dailyspins.com, your destination for crypto sports betting. dailyspins.com/sports is the place to get involved in all of that. Their Premier League stuff is absolutely shit hot. It's really, really good. So get involved there. I think the main place to start, Barry, with this Champions League draw is obviously the big contenders, Newcastle United here. I've got the prices here for, if you remember this ridiculous new system, the 1 to 36, is it?
Yeah.
36 teams.
32.
Yeah.
32.
No, 36.
36, yeah.
Yeah, it's 36, Barry.
You're
So we've
right,
got prices to win the league stage, to be top of the 32. We've got prices to finish in the top 8. And then we've got prices to finish in the playoff spots, which is 9 to 24. Newcastle United in those three markets are 40 to 1 to finish top, 5 to 2 plus 250 to finish in the top 8, and 1 to 2 minus 200 to finish in the playoff spot, 9 to 24. I had a look last year. 16 points was enough to get into the top 8. 16 points from your 8 games. And 11 points qualified. There was 3 teams on 11 points who qualified in the positions 22, 23 and 24 positions. So that's where you need to be. 11 or more should get you through. 16 or more should get you in the top 8. I was kind of torn here where I was sitting with the kids watching the draw between wanting big, exciting teams and then wanting us to win games as well. You know, you wanted a mix, didn't you? So Barcelona at home was brilliant. Bob was excited because he got first pick in the draft. Betty took first pick in the Premier League draft, leaving Bob first pick in the Champions League draft. So he got Barcelona. But then equally, I was hoping for sort of Paphos and away to Paphos and home to Almaty as well. And I thought Newcastle got a really hard draw as it happened. The top 2 were always going to be difficult. At home to Barcelona, away to PSG. Fun games. Revenge spot in Paris after we got sawn off by the officials last time round. Then Benfica, Leverkusen and PSV, who were all established Champions League teams. Marseille away is always a nightmare trip for all kinds of reasons. Generally because you're guaranteed you're going to get your head kicked in. So Marseille away, and it's never fun football-wise either. And then Bilbao at home, a La Liga team at home. It's not Paphos or Almaty or anyone like that. And Union SG away, 40 to 1 doesn't appeal. The 5 to 2 for the top 8 doesn't appeal. And the 1 to 2 for the middle spots was just too short. Like I say, 11, 12, 13 points in there for Newcastle. I think there is 11, 12 or 13 points in there for Newcastle. But none of those bets appeal particularly, Barry.
No, nothing for me on the Newcastle side of things. It's funny you mentioned Marseille. That was my first thought when that drawn out. Nobody wants to go to Marseille away. It's just got the crazy ultras, haven't they? Every time England go and play in a European Championships or a World Cup in France, it's always Marseille where it all kicks off, isn't it? I did have a little chuckle at Liverpool, who got Marseille away and Galatasaray away, which are 2 of the worst possible ones you could want if you want to avoid any kind of trouble. But in terms of Newcastle, it's one of those, you know, if you get into the Champions League, you want the plum draw, like you want those Barcelona at home and stuff like that. But we got a little bit unlucky with the sort of pot 4, pot 3 teams, in where we picked the hardest ones of the lot. I've been looking a little bit on Opta. Opta done some sort of power rankings as to how they thought the schedules had gone for everyone. Needless to say, Newcastle finished bottom of the 6 British teams in terms of the easiness of the fixtures. So Newcastle clearly got the hardest set of fixtures that they could have possibly got, just about. No bet for me on Newcastle. Still think, as you said, 11 points might be enough to get you out of there. There's more than enough potential for Newcastle to finish in the top 24. But nothing that made me want to bet. I mean, 9 to 24, I think they were 4 to 9, weren't they, to finish in the qualification spots?
Yeah, I got 1 to 2, so yeah.
So yeah, no bet for me on Newcastle.
Fair enough. Chelsea next up for us here to have a look at. Chelsea are to win the league stage 12 to 1, even money for a top 8 finish, and even money to finish in the playoff spots, which is fair enough. I thought that was wrong price, but actually it makes sense in hindsight. Even money for top 8, even money to finish in the playoffs. Barcelona also for Chelsea, as well as Bayern Munich, which is tricky. Napoli away is a tough draw. But then they got the easy pot 4 teams, where we got the tough ones. Chelsea did get Paphos and Karabag, so the 6 points there. Ajax at home should be an easy one. Comfortably 9th to 24th minimum, but evens for top 8 was just a little bit too short for me to take there. So no bet particularly on Chelsea. Barry has absolutely done a run. Oh, here he comes now. He's back. What's he doing, do you reckon? Got no idea what Barry's doing. It's a toss of a coin whether or not Chelsea can finish in the top 8 or whether or not they finish in those spots 9 to 24. Can't see them being knocked out. But no bet for me on Chelsea. Barry has returned. He was getting a wire of some description. All right there, Baz. It's a lovely close-up of your massive face.
Yeah, I had a warning come up on my computer there saying I had 5% battery. So I've had to frantically go and get a charger to get it going. But Chelsea, I didn't have anything out of Chelsea. As you say, a tough start in terms of the pot 1 teams they got to pick up Barcelona and Bayern Munich. But then Paphos and Karabag away. Paphos and Karabag from pot 4. Some fairly decent ties all around. So I can't see Chelsea having any trouble getting out of it. But there wasn't anything that jumped out of there. Because as you say, the books have got them pretty much even to finish top 8 and below. And realistically, they're probably going to be around the fringes of that. So, similar. Nothing more to add, really.
Okay. Next up, Manchester City, 9-1 to finish top of the table. 7-10, minus 142 for a top 8 finish. And 6-5, plus 120 to finish 9th to 24th. Problem with Man City is there's 2 things in play here. The draw isn't particularly straightforward. But I'm just not convinced about their current form. You have to factor that in as well. It's not just the name brand Man City against these other teams. I'm just not sure how good they are. Dortmund at home and Madrid away. It does drop off pretty steeply for Manchester City after that. Villarreal, Bodo Glimt, Galatasaray at home, and Monaco. So the top 8 finish is absolutely live. I agree that the top 8 finish should be shorter than the playoff place finish. But just their current form, Man City is still on the watch list for me. So even they've got a soft draw, I can't bet them because I'm wary of them. And I certainly can't bet them at 7-10, minus 142. They might be fine, but there's enough question marks about them for that price to be too short for me.
Yeah, my exact same thoughts with Man City is I just don't know what to make of them at the moment. Don't know how you can trust them at this point. They'll have no problem getting out of it. Well, I say that. Thought that last year and they went down to the wire. But for me, very much a watch and brief for Man City. Let's see how they get started because there could be absolutely anything in this competition.
Yeah, Joe's not particularly keen, saying they'll be lucky to make the playoff places. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me either. Do you know what I mean? There's all sorts of possibilities. We move on. A few more teams left to cover. I'm going to tell you about mybookie.ag, your place to bet on all the sports are over there. The $100,000 NFL Super Contest is live. You get a free entry if you buy 2 $15 entries. Tons of locations and crypto. Head to mybookie.ag. The promo code is PLGP for 100% bet back bonus up to $500. Mybookie.ag. Promo code PLGP. And Rhythm are fired right up for NFL. There's a weekly leaderboard on there with cash prizes just for tracking your bets in the app. 7-day free trial over there at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Arsenal next up then for you, Joe. Arsenal are 6-1. Sure, I think they might be second favourites, Arsenal, to win this league stage. Just going down the line there. Yeah, 6-1 second favourites in behind Barcelona are the favourites. 6-1 Arsenal, 1-2 minus 200 for a top 8 finish, in 6-4 plus 150 for a playoff place. This is another 3-team tricky, 5-team easy split for Arsenal. But I think there's enough potential drop points to make the 1-2 for a top 8 finish too short here. Arsenal have Munich at home isn't straightforward. And then the other tricky ones were Milan away and Atletico Madrid at home, who are always a hard out. After that, it drops off pretty quick. Again, Bruges, Olympiacos, Prague, Almaty, Bilbao away. is again potential drop points as well. So I just wasn't enthralled by the 1-2 Arsenal. Thought it was too short, but they probably should make it. There's at least 12 points in there. But like I say, we need to get to 16. There was enough drop points for me to not want them.
Yeah, so the Opta rankings had Arsenal down as the strongest schedule of all of the teams. They were actually ranked third, I think, overall in terms of their strength of their fixtures. But it was skewed massively. It did caveat that with the fact anyone who had Almaty in their fixtures were massively elevated up those rankings because Almaty are ranked 473rd in the world or something like that. And actually, if you take that fixture out of it, bank that as a 3-pointer. Looking at the other fixtures in isolation, Arsenal dropped quite a bit further down. As you say, top 3 in their list is tricky, but beyond that, it doesn't look to be enough to trouble them. But they could easily drop points in all 3 of those. Barcelona, Inter, Atletico. So as I say, they do look to have one of the easier schedules overall, certainly in terms of Opta's view on it.
Okay, the penultimate team, and my first pick is going to lie here, Barry. The team we're going to look at is Liverpool. Liverpool, who topped this table last year, 21 points. I think Liverpool picked up. They are 6-1 to top it again this time around. 1-2, -200, and for the playoff places are 13-8 plus 162. So tricky for Liverpool. Home to Real Madrid, always a tricky game. They will go to Atletico Madrid. Atletico, we know, are hard as nails. I thought they were good last year. They haven't been as good this season. You're right, Joe. Joe's pointing that out. But it's early days, and they're just it's a tough place to go. They have to go to Milan, and they have to go to Marseille as well. And Galatasaray. There's a lot of potential drop points here. Straightforward game here is Karabakh at home. That was really the only straightforward game I saw for Liverpool. So there's more than enough drop points for me to see them just landing in the playoff places. I don't see them get knocked out by any stretch. But that playoff place finishing between 9th and 24th at 13-8. And also, like we just said about Man City, I'm not convinced by Liverpool yet. On opening nights, they could have easily not beaten Bournemouth. I saw them against Newcastle. They were the second best team for the majority of the game and half the game against 10 men. So the jury's out for me on Liverpool. We said that when we were handicapping the Arsenal game last night, Baz. So that playoff spot, 13-8, I think is a giant price, Baz. That's what the first of my 2 plays here. Liverpool to finish in the playoff spots at 13-8 plus 160.
Yeah, I've got a feeling we're both going to have a couple of picks on this, and we're both going to be on the opposite sides of things. Because you said you've got a pick for Spurs as well. I have a very strong feeling we'll be on the opposite side of that. I actually don't mind Liverpool to do well here. And I know they haven't been convincing in the Premier League, but they didn't necessarily start that strongly last year in the Premier League in terms of the performances, if not the results. But Champions League, they were shit hot against, some decent. They had a tough set of fixtures last year in the group stage and still came through it unscathed. 21 points in total. And I think it was only the last game, wasn't it, where it was all done and dusted, where they dropped any points. So I quite like them. And part of the reason I've got an outright pick, and it's not Liverpool. But the part of the reason I like them here is because I think some of the other big contenders have got tougher sets of fixtures. I mean, PSG had a horrible draw. Barcelona, Bayern, Atlanta, I think they've got Dortmund, possibly. They've got Spurs from pot 3 and Sporting from pot 3. And then pot 4, they've got Athletic Bilbao and Newcastle. So PSG seem to pick up the 2 worst teams from every pot, pretty much. So I don't like PSG in terms of the group stage. Bayern are similar. Bayern got a really tricky draw. I think they're down as having one of the hardest draws of the lot. And for that reason, I thought Liverpool were potentials for topping the group again. I've got Liverpool here at 6-1 to top the group. I think I'll get a run for my money out of that.
I absolutely hate that. Did you watch the draw, Barry, yesterday?
I mean, if you hate that, you'll absolutely detest me next pick.
No, you won't. I love it because I think I've got the same pick as you next up. There's no fucking... They expect us to believe that that's some sort of magic algorithm, by the way. It's clearly some geezer sitting with all the information, and they know what the draw is. So they pull a ball out and say, PSG, just give the computer 30 seconds to work out what's going on. And they talk amongst themselves and they have a laugh and a joke with Zlatan, while the bloke says, all right, this is what we want best for television. And then he presses the button and all the games come up. It's like the Wizard of Oz, Barry. Like, did they think we're stupid? Idiots. Okay, finally then, Tottenham Hotspur. And this was the standout for me, Barry, because the draw is absolute dog shit. It's a Europa League draw. Like, I bet they had a harder draw. I was watching the Europa League draw today, like Aberdeen and Crystal Palace, and then all these names are going through like word salad. This is what Tottenham's draw is.
The funny thing is, Malcolm, you remember last year when they won the Europa League and we all talked about how easy it is to win the Europa League when all you've got to face is teams like Frankfurt and Bodo Glimt. And then who has Spurs got in the Champions League draw? Frankfurt and Bodo Glimt. Two of the teams that faced last year are now up against again. So it is, I thought.
Well, there's 3 teams worse than fucking them two in there as well. Dortmund at home was the easiest of all the pot 1 games. Okay, PSG away is a little bit tricky. The rest of it, though, is a Europa League draw. Frankfurt, Bodo Glimt, Slavia Prague, no. Copenhagen, no thanks. Monaco and Villarreal. It's absolute dog shit. So win 5 and draw 1. Even if you give them 5 wins and a draw out of those 6 games, that gets them to 16 points. That's before Dortmund at home and PSG away. We've already said 16 points gets you in the top 8. The top 8 finish at 2-1 is incredibly achievable. I don't actually mind the 20-1 for Tottenham to finish top of the table. I might have bet it a bit bigger. If it was, 33s or 40s, I'm not going to bet them at 20s, but I do think they're live. But the top 8 finish at 2-1 was my best play on this entire card, Barry. The points are there. Absolutely. Tottenham started well as well. Obviously, we know it's a short sample, but they looked good against PSG. They got a draw there, which would normally be another point. And they have started the season well, made some more signings today. Simons has come in. There's 16 points there, at least for Tottenham. 2-1 is one of my favourite bets of the season so far, Barry.
Well, I'm glad about that because I'm on the same pick. I thought you would have hated it, to be honest, just because it's Tottenham. But I think you've got to forget about Tottenham last year because Thomas Frank's Tottenham do look a different outfit so far. And the draw, as you say, it's a Europa League draw all over, other than PSG and Dortmund. I think they've got a very favourable draw, and I think top 8's right there. As you say, 16 points required. And, you wouldn't put it past them taking something off those other teams as well. So, yeah, same pick. I've got 2-1 for Tottenham to finish in the top 8.
Yeah, well, there you go. Joe's saying that I've completely and utterly fallen for it. I'm right. I have taken the bait, hook, line and sinker. When after 8 games, they've got 4 points. We clip this and we look back at it and laugh.
We saw Villa make a proper run at it, and they had much harder schedule last year, and yet they got off to a flyer, from a similar position. Wouldn't have been expected to finish in the top 8 and got through comfortably in the end. So yeah, I can see Spurs doing
it. So just to recap, Barry, your best bets for from this Champions League analysis.
So I've got Liverpool to finish top of the group at 6-1. I've got Spurs to finish top 8 at 2-1. And I had to throw an outright pick. For me, I'm sticking with PSG to do it again. They're around about 6-1. I don't think they'll do particularly well in the group, but then they didn't last year either. I think they've got a tough enough group stage that they might sort of struggle to get the top 8 possibly. But overall, I think they'll come strong around the back end again. As I say, how good they were against Liverpool and Arsenal last year, I think I can see them making a good run of it again. So I'll have PSG on the outright as well at 6-1.
Okay, so it looks like the bet of the show is Tottenham to finish in the top 8 at 2-1 because that's one that I picked up as well. I think Liverpool can drop enough points to be in the playoffs. So that was my second pick here. Liverpool at 13-8 plus 162. And I think, Barry, that's us. A cheeky 25 minutes. That was always the plan. Just to wet our whistle. Very much looking forward to the Paphos v Almaty game. The fixtures come out in the morning, don't they?
Is it tomorrow? I was wondering when it was.
He's got Yeah, tomorrow morning. He's got a holiday booked, so it's match day 3, I think. He does not want Barcelona at home on match day 3. He's been like a frog in a blender for the last couple of weeks, panicking about missing the big game at home. Yeah. So I'm sure he'll be up early.
Was the one. All the English,
doors out in the morning.
All the English fans would have wanted Paphos away, wouldn't they? I don't think any of them got it. That would have been, a nice trip to the Greek Isles for a little breakaway.
Me and the kids looked at flights to Almaty on Wednesday night after they knocked Celtic out. It was 34 hours, Baz, was kind of the most appropriate. And that included 2 stops in Turkey. One to Antalya, which I was just at last week. And the other one was Istanbul. So you had to go Newcastle to Istanbul to Antalya, Antalya to Almaty. And on the way back, you had to stop in Doha. I mean, if you look at a map, it's right on the Chinese border.
I was looking. I think the longest journey in this Champions League is Sporting got Almaty away, which is it's a hell of a trek. I can't see Sporting taking too many fans over there.
I know there was a load of Newcastle fans who were just expecting us to be away at Almaty the 3 days before we had Sunderland at home on the Saturday lunchtime. Just getting basically straight off the plane. Straight down to the stadium, allowed to lose 1-0 to Sunderland on the Saturday lunchtime. But we managed to avoid that one. Right, okay, thanks, Baz. We'll do a Premier League recap on Sunday night. As I said, if you haven't caught up with the pick show, there's gazillions of winners in that as well. Baz, anything to tell the people before we let you go and sort your fire?
No, I'm a bit out of sorts this week because I've got nothing planned for the weekend. Chloe's not very happy because we've done a concert or a gig, I should say, every weekend in August. So I am half contemplating going up to Sheffield tomorrow to the Rock and Roll Circus. Reverend and the Makers, Libertines, Lottery Winners, and a few others. So if I can pick up a cheap ticket on the day, I might have a little drawn up to Sheffield and go see some more live music, just because why not? It's what I've done all the rest of August. So.
Do you know, Barry, Reverend and the Makers? We've seen him a few times. John McClure, big fans of. Do you know who his brother is?
Yes. It's Paul. Well, Steve Bracknell, obviously, is.
Yeah.
Because Reverend and the Makers, John McClure, is the manager of Royal Oak, Paul Sampson. So Steve Bracknell is the assistant manager, and Paul Sampson is his brother, John McClure, who is also the Reverend and the Makers lead singer. Yeah.
There you go. And if you Google the album cover, Barry, of the first Arctic Monkeys album.
Chris McClure as well.
The album cover, there you go. Yeah, I learned all of that, Barry, at the bar before the match on Monday night. Just talking to someone at the bar before the game.
I would have known all of that. But yeah, he's that iconic image from the Arctic Monkeys, isn't it? The guy smoking the cigarette, the headshot of the guy smoking the cigarette, yeah. That's who Malcolm. Well, anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, Steve Bracknell is the bloke who Malcolm met. We put it on YouTube, didn't we?
Have you seen all that kit launch and stuff now? By the way, you see, one step ahead, me, Barry. I'd get in where a draft wouldn't. I'm like Sam Quick. Right, okay, everyone, go away, enjoy your weekend. We'll reconvene here on Sunday night to talk about all the winners that we've had. Good luck, everybody. We'll see you down the road. Cheers.